Hi everybody, it's Eric back again for another yoga lab. I want to change it up a little bit today from the past yoga labs in doing a standing posture that students have asked me questions about. So when we're talking about revolved triangle pose, Parvritta Trikonasana, there's a couple of things we want to consider. So when we look at the feet, and we always start at the feet in this posture, in any standing posture, is what position of the feet is on the ground is going to affect the position of our pelvis. And the position of our pelvis is going to affect how much rotation we get in Parvritta Trikonasana in our spine. So what happens sometimes is that students will come into Parvritta Trikonasana with an uneven pelvis. And the question is often asked, is that bad? And my answer to that is generally, no, it's not. It just generally means that a student maybe have a little bit of tighter hip tissue going on, pelvic tissue, or they have an issue maybe with their SI joint, so it's probably even better to tilt the pelvis a little bit when they're rotating through the spine in this posture. But generally, we want to position the feet and the pelvis so that we can work towards keeping the pelvis even, flat, as if I was going to put a glass of water on the pelvis and you could balance it there, so that we can take the twist more directly into the spine rather than have the hips help us out. Yeah? So there's a couple of things we want to take a look at. The first one is the position of the feet. So generally speaking, for somebody with really open hips, their position of the feet might be the front heel lined up with the back arch of the foot. And generally speaking, from my experience, there isn't a lot of people that can do that and have good balance. So we have to kind of consider the body type, we have to consider the hips, we have to consider a few things as far as the muscles around the pelvis and the hamstrings. How tight, how open are these muscles? So it's quite possible that a student may have to open their feet a little bit wider apart. Yeah? And a good way to know that if you're in a good stance here, as far as from left to right with your feet, is can I feel the four corners of my feet pressing into the floor? Basically the base of my big toe, the base of my little toe, and both sides of my heel planted into the ground evenly. So when I get to that point here, now I have a little more stability, yeah? Then when it comes time to decide how much distance should I have from front to back foot, that's another question I'm asked, is I would generally say when your upper body, your torso, gets parallel to the floor. So that might be difficult for people, or more challenging with people who have tighter hamstrings, but that's where props like a block can come in handy. So generally speaking, if somebody is bending forward and coming into this posture and their upper body is lower than parallel to the floor, then try and do the posture with your feet a little wider apart or with a block under your hand. Yeah? If on the other hand, you've got your feet quite wide apart from front to back and you're coming forward into this posture, and you maybe have your upper body higher than parallel to the floor. Again, there's nothing bad with that, but as far as balance into both legs and the feet and getting that rotation into the spine, then maybe you take a shorter step in between your feet in order to create more stability. So if we take a look at when we're doing that, what we can look at here is keep the feet in a distance where you feel the four corners under your feet equally. When you come forward, yeah, you're going to rotate from the lower abdomen below the navel first. Yeah, exhale the breath. Take the hand to the inside or the outside of the front foot. Lift the kneecaps. Yeah, flexing the quadriceps with a slight bend in the knees so they're not hyperflexing. And then if you find that you have tighter hamstrings or tighter hip muscles, then maybe you take a block underneath you on the in or the outside of the foot, the front foot. You can keep the left hand on your sacrum. Yeah? And then from here, we want to rotate through the sternum, through the crown of the head, and work on lengthening the gluteal muscles and gently pushing the sit bones evenly to the back of the mat. Okay, putting a little more weight into the back leg and the back foot. Yeah? So if you're going to come into this posture without a prop and you find that your foot position seems stable, you feel that your pelvis is flat, then coming into the posture, take the hand down to the floor outside the foot. Yeah? And as you're turning, turn from the lower abdomen again underneath the navel through the middle of the chest. Yeah? And gently reaching through the sternum, through the crown of the head. You also have this other right hand on the floor that's going to act as another point of gravity for you. Yeah, so another point of stability as well as your feet. So if you start to notice that your front big toe is coming off the ground, then that's probably a sign that your feet are too close together from left to right. Yeah, and when maybe reaching the left arm up to the sky, the position of the head, what feels best for your neck? There's no rule that says your eyes have to look up to the left hand. Maybe you look straight out to the left, maybe even look towards the left foot, okay? And see what works best for you. It's very personal from person to person, from student to student. It's not just everybody's foot should line up here and then come into the posture. I don't find it works like that. So play with the foot position first, because that's going to affect your pelvic position. And then once you have the pelvic position, even if it's slightly tilted in the pelvis, that's okay, but work towards keeping the pelvis even with the feet wide enough front to back and wide enough left to right. And then see if that helps you create a little more stability and ease in Parvritta Trikonasana. That's it for today, everybody. Have fun with that. If you have any comments, right below. Peace out.